In a world of such amazing indie titles as Guacamelee, Yoku's Island Express, Darkwood, Grime, Abzu, and all the others that I can't name right now, it's hard for a game to stand out in my games library nowadays, especially one as overpopulated as my Epic and GOG library. Epic's weekly free deals can sometimes be a somewhat mixed bag in terms of quality, so it takes a lot to stand out from the crowd unless a game has an immediately recognizable name, which is especially intriguing when I noticed a game titled Duskers. Duskers is a game developed and published by Misfits Attic on May 18th of 2016 for PC, which makes Duskers nearly 10 years old at this point. You are a Dusker, a drone operator responsible for scavenging the remains of space stations and ships known as derelicts in search for fuel, scrap, and any upgrades to make future derelict searching easier. The story of this game is scattered, to say the least. From what I can gather from the game and also poking around online, at some point in humanity's history, an anomaly appeared that led to a future through which humanity sent the Duskers. In this future, however, humanity is gone, and it is clear that something has gone horribly wrong. It's your job to piece together what happened so that humanity can avoid this future. But as the game continues, you begin to realize that you are all that's left. The basic gameplay loop boils down to boarding these derelicts, hoovering up anything remotely useful, and then moving on to the next derelict and repeating the process. While on the derelicts, however, you're not always alone. Using your motion detector reveals that some compartments are contaminated with something. You're not human, that's for sure. With no way to fight back, the only way to progress is avoidance, or to use lucky placement of onboard defenses to deal with the trouble for you. This lack of action helps to really build tension, which I'll talk about more later. Duskers is split into two general gameplay methods while boarding a derelict. You can manually take control of a drone to pilot it with your arrow keys, though they are prone to video outages, or a generalized overview of the entire derelict, including all of your precious little drones. This latter view is the view that I personally prefer, which I think plays into what helps it feel so unique. In either view, the only way to control your drones is through commands on the terminal pictured on the bottom right. No mouse movement, no test of reflexes here, just pure, measured, incremental movements. This is a game that tests your tactical planning and forces you to think ahead and plan your moves carefully, and helping to build that up is the pre-planning screen. Before entering a derelict, this is how you manage upgrades, your drones, trading, and moving in between derelicts. It just feels so empty, and really, it's incredible. If there's one thing that Duskers absolutely nails, it is atmosphere. From the startup sequence that reminds me of booting up any old device, to the oppressive industrial hum buzzing in your ears 24/7. It's made clear that there is no joy in this job. There is no action to be had, no glory to gain, no blood to spill. It is simply cold, hard business. The art direction of this entire game spares no expense when it comes to the industrial manner in which everything is presented, from the sounds of the menu to the abrupt tutorials. It's very similar in theme and general presentation to Iron Lung or any of the incredible works of Mike Klubenica? The guy who made Shotgun Roulette and all of his amazing games. The visuals aren't anything impressive, but they only serve to further the theme, and for that it's an incredibly stylistic and tasteful design choice. Then there's the tension. Tension throughout the game is heightened as missions go on, and the derelict you're exploring suddenly begins to take on radiation. Doors suddenly stop working, and you start fighting vents and hearing noises. This is terrifying, as you can go from a calm and peaceful looting session in an empty rust bucket to frantically telling all of your drones to move as quickly as they can to get out before whatever's trapped in that room finally escapes. It's genuinely incredible just how well this game can spook you after you're immersed. But no game is perfect, and therein lies the one major flaw that I feel holds Duskers back. It's kind of fucking boring. I mean, don't get me wrong, the atmosphere and the immersion for a game so fundamentally simple is nothing to scoff at, but the game's reliance on RNG means that a lot of the time it doesn't fucking go anywhere. In a game dripping with atmosphere, any lack of meaningful payoff most of the time means that at some point the novelty is going to wear off and it starts getting boring. And while it is true that randomized payoff can sometimes lead to a more meaningful scare, the overwhelming majority of the time you see anything even remotely dangerous means you'll be able to handle it so effectively, means the payoff never gets to you. At least that's how it's been in my experience. There's no real end to the game, at least none that I'm willing to put the time and effort into getting to, because as Weird Al once said,
I say, wow!
But don't let me stop you. If you enjoy a slow-paced, expertly crafted scavenging experience, this is the game for you. Command line games are rare nowadays, and this little gem in the rough is good enough that I can recommend it for a solid amount of time. It's not without its flaws, but those flaws aren't that major, and it's not that much of a deal breaker in my opinion. The price might be, though. 7 out of 10. If this game were a Roomba, it'd be a weaponized one. Thank you for watching.